Do you ever have times where you are completely overwhelmed? You know I do. Stay tuned because I have a great quick tip to help you when that happens. Hi, my name's Christine O'Connor. Welcome to Happy Stuffing Club, a channel for women over 50 who are getting happy and growing younger. Okay, so I've really missed you. It's been a while since I saw you last, and lots of things have happened since then. But once again, I want to thank you so much for all of your comments and emails about the last video, about Charlotte in the last video. I know I haven't got round yet to answering all of the emails, but I will. You know, I answer all my comments and all of my emails. And so I just thought I'd talk a little bit about that video, actually, because you know positive psychology underpins everything I do. Well, a lot of the time, and incidentally I've qualified now as a positive psychology practitioner. I think I told you that I was looking at my personal development and ways that I could continue my lifelong learning, and I've spent the last 12 months studying for this particular certificate, and I finally got it. So I'm telling you that because I'm quite proud of the fact, but also because lots of people, when they ask what you do and you talk about positive psychology, they think you mean a kind of happyology, and they kind of expect you to be full of the joys of spring the whole time, which of course I'm not. But so positive psychology is not about that. I'll leave a video link to where I talk about positive psychology, especially for those of you who've recently joined us and may have just watched a few videos, because, as I say, positive psychology underpins everything I do. So I'd like you to understand. That. So positive psychology is all about taking people, it's all about looking at what's right and not just what's wrong. So it's where traditional psychology might have looked at fixing a person. I know this is simplifying it. Positive psychology is looking at, right, once we've got that person to a level we would call normal at 0, how do we get them then to flourish? So that's what positive psychology is all about. But we look at the whole range of emotions. We look at positivity, of course we do, and that's a huge part of positive psychology. But no one is denying the fact that negative emotions are important to us. As I've said to you before, it's when those negative emotions start to take over that we can start to have problems. And, well, actually, just let me give you this quotation here by Golda Meir. I think this is perfect. Okay, because I really believe that. I think that's true. And although in that last video I was desperately trying to prevent myself from crying with my whole heart, believe me, I have cried from my whole heart, especially recently, of course. But in that video, the reason I stopped myself from crying is because I can't cry elegantly. And I didn't want to look like Quasimodo on a bad day. So, you know, expressing negative emotions is important. And obviously, that happened at the end of the last video. And lots of you commented on that. And, you know, it kind of seems to have given you permission to be able to express your sadness too, because lots of people just try to, well, we're brought up that way, aren't we? We're brought up not to cry and not to express our emotions. But anyway, thank you for all of your comments and thank you for your emails. So Tal Ben-Shahar is a prominent positive psychologist, and he talks about allowing ourselves to be human. So in positive psychology, we talk a lot about permission to be human. And it's about allowing ourselves to, what he calls practice active acceptance, where we don't actually give in to despair, but we don't suppress painful emotions either, because it's a bit like if you don't express negative emotions, you keep trying to press them down and to suppress them. They're a little bit like a beach ball in the sea. If you try to push a beach ball under the sea, it's going to keep bobbing up. And the problem is these negative emotions will bob up at the most inappropriate moment and come out in the most inappropriate way, which happened to me recently. I'll tell you about that in a second. So Tal Ben-Shahar talks about letting emotions flood out of you and let them dissipate. And also, if you let the negative emotions flood out of you, that leaves room for positive emotions to follow behind, which I think is a lovely thing to think about. Permission to be human, or allowing ourselves to be human, and feeling overwhelmed. So I had occasion where I completely lost it. I'm confessing to you here, guys. With all of my training, with all of my intellectual reading and all of those things, still, it happened to me too. And I know what to do when it happens, and I did. We're going to do an exercise in a second, but just let me tell you what happened. With everything that had been going on with Charlotte, we've been up and down, up and down. One day it's this, the next day it's that, then it's something else. First she's well, then she isn't. And you know, you've been on the journey with me. I was pretty much wound up because of all of this. And one day I walked into her hospital ward and she was crying. Now, Charlotte is a tough cookie. You know, if Charlotte's crying, something is very wrong. And when she told me, I'm not going to go into the full story, but when she told me what had happened to make her cry, I completely became overwhelmed, and all of the emotion and anger that I'd allowed to build up came out. I left the Charlotte's ward, and the first person I came upon received my negative emotions, let's put it that way. And she was the wrong person to be receiving that. I should have been directing my conversation to someone else entirely. But the fact that she was there at that time, the fact that I was feeling overwhelmed, I allowed that to happen. Now, as it happens, I did what I'm about to tell you to do now, and afterwards I went to seek out this young lady who's a delightful person and apologised profusely for what I had done. The thing is, what I'd said to her, she entirely agreed with, and I wasn't apologising for what I said, I was apologising for the way it came out. Emotional. I was emotional. So, what I'm trying to say to you is it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter how much training you've done, sometimes things happen where that goes through the window and you react. So we'll talk about responding and reacting in another video, but here, this is what happened with me. So this is what I did. I went into the ladies. Okay, do this with me. So this is what I want you to do when you feel that, when you start to feel that kind of overwhelm. Okay, so just close your eyes. It's only going to take us a few seconds. Close your eyes with me now. And we're just going to take 3 deep breaths. But first of all, what I want you to do when you start to feel overwhelmed, ask yourself this question. Am I breathing? Am I breathing? And automatically your attention will move off what you're thinking about onto your breath, okay? Am I breathing? Close your eyes. Deep breath. That's 1. In through the belly, you know this. Let your shoulders drop on the out breath. 3rd breath. Bring your mind and your body back to balance. Continue breathing normally. Tal Ben-Shahar calls this micro-level recovery. A great title for that. And it works because it kind of puts the brakes on your amygdala, which is that part of the brain that releases your stress hormones. Now, if you are self-aware, and if you are quicker than I was on that particular day, I would have asked myself, when I walked into that room and saw Charlotte crying, that's when I should have said, okay, am I breathing? 3 deep breaths. Bring my mind and body back to balance, and then ask the question, what do I need to do about this, and who do I need to speak to? And then I would have been in a state to go and speak to the right person and say the right things. I am human. You are human. We must give ourselves permission to be human. Okay, I just want to ask Patricia Griffin, if you are out there, to contact me please on my email address, because you won the giveaway for the free consultation with the Enlightenment coach Teresa O'Connor. You know, we did the Caring for Caregivers series and your name came out of the hat. And so if you contact me, I'll give you Teresa's details and you can contact her directly and see if or when you would like to take that forward. So congratulations, Patricia. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you're all cool and you're all good. Please leave comments in the comments box. I love reading them. Tell me where you are from if you're a new subscriber, because I like to know where everybody comes from, and I'll be back with you soon. And in the meantime, remember, on the Happy Stuff and Fluff, we are getting happy and